Hi, I'm Miche Meisner from Shining Light Jewelry. I've been making custom rings for folks for about 35 years. And part of getting a custom ring is also getting a custom fit. You definitely want a ring that's going to feel good on your hand and as well as look good on your hand. So I wanted to go over a few points toward figuring out the correct size, comfortable size for your ring. Part of getting a custom ring is also getting a custom fit. You definitely want a ring that's going to feel good on your hand and as well as look good on your hand. So I wanted to go over a few points about figuring out the toward figuring out the correct size, comfortable size for your ring. Okay, so some of the tools of the trade. There are narrow sizing rings that most jewelers would have available, and there are wider sizing rings. These traditionally come in full and half sizes, but since I'm making every ring to order, you can also get quarter sizes or whatever it is that you need. We can really customize that to make it a good fit. So I suggest that you go to a jewelry store that has both the narrow sizing rings and the wide, and then start trying on some things. So I've got a collection of rings here that I will show you as if I was sitting here with you, helping you get the right size for your finger. It often matters whether the ring is wide or narrow in the back, in the palm side of the hand. And this is mainly for those of us, many of us, who have, trying to control this thing, who have like an indent where your finger meets your palm. And so a narrow ring can sit in that little crook of your hand, whereas a wider ring's got to span for me, the chubbier part of the finger. Some people have fingers that really have sort of no waist here, and it's just all kind of a line going down to the hand. And for those folks, what I recommend is that it needs to be snug, not so tight that you're not going to want to wear it, but it's actually the fit and the friction in this part of your finger that's going to hold the ring in place. Getting the right size is really important. And another point to throw in here too is consider when you are at the jewelry store trying on rings or sizing rings, what kind of state are your hands in? So just kind of take a little inventory of how your hands are doing, and then you'll have to extrapolate from there whether you're at a more swollen point, in which case you would expect the ring to be a little bit more snug so that when your hand is not swollen, the ring won't just come flying off your hand. And if you're in a particularly cold state, then, not a state, but, state of being with your hands, then you want to make sure that there's a little room for when it comes to be, summer, hot, humid. Some people, they don't change much from time of month, time of year, time of day, amount of salt. Okay, so here's one, and I'm going to slip it on, and I just want you to see, how do I do this, that there's a little bit of friction. I mean, it takes a little bit of struggle to get it off my finger, which is what you want, but you still want it to be comfortable and roomy when it's on your hand, because you want to be comfortable. Or I want to be comfortable. I imagine you do too. Okay, so this one actually was a pretty good size. I have a selection of rings here, none of which are mine. They're just, inventory from... Okay, don't go there. Okay, so I have a collection of rings here, and I'm just going to try them on my fingers and kind of give you an idea of what looks like a good fit and what looks like sort of a troublesome fit. So this one, I'd say for my pinky, is the finger that is kind of most lacking in that waist that I mentioned. And so it's really going to be just the friction between the ring and my finger that's going to keep the ring in place. So for this one, I would say that's pretty good. Again, there's a little struggle to get it off, not so tight that it's going to stop the blood flow or feel really uncomfortable. And also because it's a wider band, it has an additional kind of friction point of going over the pad of the finger. So that's going to hold on pretty well there. Now my hands actually are pretty warm because I've been doing things with them. And okay. All right. So my hands at the moment are kind of warm, and so I would have to consider that in cold, or if I were swimming often and wanted to be able to wear my ring, that my finger would be a little bit smaller, and then this ring would probably just kind of, well, it might just fly off, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. Good things about being able to get rings made for you in quarter sizes, or even in eighth sizes if we need to get that particular about it. So here's, okay, so one of the things I did mention already about where it's more narrow. How do we get to see that there? Yeah. More narrow in the back, wide in the front. It's the palm area that's the more important when you're figuring whether you need the wide or the narrow finger sizing. Okay, so with a narrow sizer, these run in half sizes, and we're just going to try that. This is an 8.5, and okay, and it fits. It's some struggle to get off. It's actually a little bit snug for me. It's hard to tell with 20 other rings hanging on the thing there, but it feels a little bit tight to me. Although I'm, yeah, in the yeah, it feels a little bit snug to me, and so if my hand wasn't already known to be kind of in a swollen state, I would think that there's not enough room for summertime swelling. If we go to the wide size, which I have somewhere, then we'll be able to see if there's any difference. Now, again, like I said, for some people there is no difference. It doesn't really matter. It really depends on the shape of your finger, particularly where it meets your palm. And some of us have more difference, some of us have none. Okay, so here is an 8.5 in the wide sizing ring. And this would also at a jeweler's be attached to the 20 other rings, but it fell off, so okay. And so here it is, and again it fits, but it feels uncomfortably snug, and I have to fight with it a bit to get it off my finger. So for me, that's going to be too small. So the next one up on the sizing rings is a size 9, and I'm going to try that. And that one's pretty comfortable. And again, there's a little bit of struggle there. So for me, pretty good. I'd probably go with that. Do, sort of check in and think, well, if my hand was, cold or wet or something, how would that affect it? How would it be? I did mention already about the whole idea of having a custom ring with a custom fit is that it's something that you feel really good about and that you feel good in, or it feels good on, or whichever, yeah. Okay, so those are those points. I did want to say something else, but I'm having trouble remembering what that is. There was something. One thing we haven't talked about, and unfortunately in my little pile here today, I don't have an example of a comfort fit ring. And those can be narrow or wide. The difference between a comfort fit and a regular fit is that on the inner surface of the ring on a regular fit is just straight across, like if you were looking into a piece of pipe or a cylinder. It's just the same diameter going all the way through. With a comfort fit, it's actually domed on the inside. And what that does is, again, that little indent in your hand is where the hump of the comfort fit would sit in that area. It is called a comfort fit because for a lot of people it is more comfortable. However, that doesn't mean that the ones that aren't called comfort fit are uncomfortable. It's up to you and what feels right and good on your hand. Okay. I did mention already about. So one of the other choices that we haven't talked about yet is the difference between a comfort fit ring and a regular fit. Let's see if we can get a close-up of that. It's the inner surface of it goes straight across. It's like looking down a piece of pipe. On a comfort fit ring, the inner surface actually has an inner dome or hump in it. And what that accomplishes is that when you're, there we go. When you've got the ring on and it's sitting in the crook of your finger, or crook, yeah. So what that accomplishes is with the comfort fit, the domed area is what's going to be sitting in the crook of your hand. It is called a comfort fit because for a lot of people it is more comfortable. However, that doesn't mean that the ones that aren't called comfort fit are uncomfortable. It's up to you and what feels right and good on your hand. Okay. It also adds a little bit of weight, so if you like rings with a little bit of heft, there's another reason to go for a comfort fit. And if you don't, if you really would rather not even think about having a ring on your hand, then probably you want to go for something lighter weight, although still with enough thickness that it's not going to bend when you are shoveling your car out of the snow or holding on to the jet ski handlebars, whatever. Okay. All right, so we've covered the hot, cold, swollen, not swollen thing. We've covered the wide band versus narrow band. We've covered the comfort fit versus regular fit. And we've covered the idea of having rings made in finer increments than just half sizes. Or even in a lot of jewelry stores, you won't even find the range. You'll find, ladies' rings that are in 2 or 3 different sizes, and men's ring in a different 2 or 3 other sizes. And a lot of us really just don't come in those sizes. So that's another advantage of getting a ring custom made for you, that you can get one that fits you right, that fits the finger that you want, that's going to feel good on your hand. So I hope that this information was helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, or so I hope that this information and demonstration was helpful, and if you have any further questions, you can email me at miche, M-I-C-H-E, at shininglightjewelry.com, or equally long, but I think easier to remember, greenweddingrings.com. I'm pretty sure I'm done now. Okay, thanks. Another topic on the finger sizing that I wanted to bring up, and this can be particularly useful if you are trying to surprise someone and are able to kind of sneak away one of the rings that they normally wear on the finger that you want to get the ring for, is that most jewelers will have a ring sizing stick.